You're listening to a fight against free kill laws from AMP Media Production Studio.
Welcome to the Fight Against Free Kill Laws with Ed Salazar, where we give a voice to those who have suffered firsthand from medical malpractice. In Florida, families devastated by medical negligence are left without justice because of a law many don't even know exists. Florida's free kill law prevents families from holding doctors accountable. These are real stories with real loss and no justice. Contact Ed at 561-239-2417 or visit afreekill.com. Today we uncover the truth, share real stories, and demand change.
Good evening, friends. And again, thank you so very, very much for taking the time to tune into this podcast. We have a very, very special show this evening. We are privileged to have Daryl Perritt returning to speak to us. Daryl, in addition to being a warrior for the effort to abolish the free kill laws, he has also been just very, very involved in public activities. He's the fella that put up the billboard in Jacksonville that we've highlighted on this show. And he recently also did his own documentary about these events. And it is also our honor to have his wife with us, Mama Sue. Could we bring them in now, please? Good evening, Daryl. Welcome back.
Thank
Sue,
you.
very, very nice to meet you.
Hello.
Since you were on our show last time, the audience knows everything that our movement has gone through trying to get the law abolished. We may not have been successful in getting it abolished, but we certainly have increased exposure. And since the last time you were on the show, tell us about the activities you've had. Your documentary, how that came about.
Well, after Cameron passed, my local newspaper had a story on the Florida Health Department and how it was impossible to find out if a doctor had been suspended or license revoked or anything else. And so it was part of the USA Network. So I contacted the writer for that because she had obviously credibility and research in the health industry. And I contacted her and asked her to produce a documentary on Cameron's life. The way that we see it is that everyone's life matters, but once you're inside a Florida medical facility, if you fall within the free kill category and you die, effectively the state of Florida says your life doesn't matter. So everything I've been doing and we've been doing is to bring to light that Cameron's life did matter. And it didn't just matter to us. It mattered to the community and everywhere else. And so that's the reason we produced the documentary. And now we're trying to share it with as many people as they can so that they can see the tragedy that can take place and the lack of accountability that happens within Florida medical facilities.
Indeed. Sue, could you just tell us a little bit about, I know you had quite a special relationship with Daryl.
Yes. Well, Cameron and I came into his life as a stepmother right about the time when he was out of high school and, just entering young adulthood. And I really, enjoyed watching him grow and learn and just do so many things. become such a wonderful young man, very big in the community. Cameron was very well loved and very well. He was out there at every event that was for charity. I loved seeing what a big heart he had. He was always the first to help with anytime there was a charity fundraiser. He was there, and I loved seeing that so much.
And he's the one that gave you your nickname, right?
Yeah. He was good at giving away food from the shop. So I had to say, hey, we do have a business we have to run. He had such a big heart that he was frequently a little too generous, we'll say, but it's hard to tell somebody with a big heart who cared about other people that, so we had just with that.
All of these things that we do, everyone who's been involved in this movement for so long, a lot of times the one comment that was made by the governor that mortified and disgusted all of us was his comment about jackpot justice.
Yes.
Tell us your feelings on that.
Well, we were at one of the legislative meetings in Tallahassee, and I believe we heard that the first time. Then maybe a month later, DeSantis was on the news, and he had said it again, that there's something jackpot justice. The families are looking for an easy payout. No, there's nothing. Money we don't want. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for answers to questions. We want to know why the doctors in the hospital didn't do certain procedures. And when we go to look for answers, we are denied the medical records. They shut you out. There's no jackpot justice.
To be
it's
accused.
Not easy for us.
Right.
That's
to
a terrible
to
word.
be accused of looking for compensation. People like you folks, like me, Cindy, Melody.
I don't need money. I need my son.
It's not the money. We know that nothing is ever going to be recovered financially. Yet, most of the time, out of our own pockets, we're pursuing this. Yeah. And all we want is accountability.
Yes.
Florida says Cameron's life doesn't matter. I've spent at least $50,000 trying to get exposure to this law with the billboards, with the podcast, and with the following documentary that you're going to see. If they change this law today, I would not be able to sue. I would not be able to hold anybody accountable. I will go to my grave in grief and guilt, never knowing why they let Cameron die. But I'm going to do this to make Cameron's life matter to more than just me and Sue and his family and his community, but also in the hopes that nobody else in the state of Florida has to go to their grave with guilt and grief because something tragic happened to them and they don't have answers as to what it was or why it happened.
And with that, let's go ahead and show the video. And again, Daryl, Sue, thank you so very much for sharing this with us.
Thank you, Ed. We appreciate you.
Yes.
You helping us get the story out.
We're brothers in this fight. All right.
Thank you, Ed.
Show the documentary, please.
You both look high. You're acting crazy. It just didn't get any better from there.
We were going to church together, and then all of a sudden he's not showing up. So she was definitely that narcissistic, separation. If I can get him separated from everybody else, I can control everything.
Thursday, September 11th, we get a phone call. She says, Daryl, Cameron's at my house and he's overdosing, and the police and the fire and the ambulance are here. Daryl rushes right over there immediately, and it was an overdose on nitrous oxide, whippets. Cameron said he felt really weird about everything that had transpired this particular day. The police questioned her. She was not arrested. Nothing happened to her. She was protected under a Good Samaritan law because she called 911. They had a felony amount of the drug at her house. She knew about the Good Samaritan law, and she knew to get the consent because she sent a video to my phone. All you see in the video is you see him staggering, and you hear her voice, Cameron, tell me you can't breathe, and I'm gonna call 911. Tell me you can't breathe, and I'm gonna call 911. He's in the middle of an overdose. He's having a seizure. He's obviously not in the right state of mind. And he just says, I can't breathe. So immediately she says, I'm gonna call 911. And then she clicks her phone off. She knew to video him. She knew to get his consent. She knew about the Good Samaritan law because she showed that video to the police. Look, I had his consent. He told me to call. I'm sorry, but that's just a sick, twisted little video. After that, he said, I want to go back into rehab. I need to get away from her. I need a break from her. Cameron went into rehab, and she was not happy. She was very angry. We had Cameron's phone, and we would see these messages come through, and they're very lengthy, and they're just ramblings of someone who's just not well. And Cameron just wanted 45 days to get away from her. So we have an addict who just is looking for another addict to spend time with. She calls it love.
To keep someone's family away from them while they're in the hospital, and then to tell the lies that were told. I think lies were told that, oh, your dad doesn't really love you, and Daryl never did anything for you, is such utter BS. Because I know what Daryl did for those kids. I know how hard he worked to provide a good, healthy environment for those kids, and still does with the kids that work for him. It was, like I said, it was more of a rescue situation for her. He felt sorry for her. It wasn't that he loved her or anything like that. He just felt sorry for her.
She wanted him to need her just as bad as she needed him. She got a hold of him, and somehow he started testing positive for drugs. So he got kicked out of Men's Sober Living. Now, November 19th, he was in pain, abdominal pain. His father brought him to the hospital, and they did a CAT scan. They didn't find anything conclusive on the CAT scan. They sent Cameron home. Daryl was going to come to Cameron's apartment at 7:30 the next morning, their usual morning routine. Cameron wasn't there. He was gone. And it was the most unusual set of circumstances. Cameron had in his bed 2 pillows and a comforter put over. So it looked like there was a body in bed. And then Cameron's cell phone was tucked under the pillow. And Cameron never goes anywhere without his cell phone, ever.
She had been trying to separate him from the family for the last month and had done it a couple of times. She had used drugs to get him out of his apartment.
We didn't know where he was. He was gone, and we had his phone. So we're trying to call her. Daryl tries to call her. I tried to call her. We're all calling her. We can't reach her. We're hunting, we're looking, we're trying to find them. She gets out of her car, and she sees that I'm in her driveway. Immediately, she starts screaming, "Cameron's not here." And I see her with a white sticker right here, and it says visitor. And I said, "Cameron is in the hospital. You were never gonna tell us." The look on her face was panic. Like, she pulls out her phone. I didn't know who she called at first. She's on the phone. "She's here at my house." And I think she was trying to break into my house, and she just pulled a gun out of her purse and she's waving it at me. She pushed me into my car. I'm standing 5 feet away from her. Now I'm looking around at the neighbors because I'm like, wow, where is this coming from? I found out later she called her father. "Really? Your father?" And I remember this. "Stay with him. You stay there with him." Her father was at the hospital with Cameron. So she hangs up the phone with her father, and then she makes a second phone call. She calls her employee. Her employee? If I'm accosting you with a gun, you're gonna call your father and then hang up, and then you're gonna call your employee? Her father and the employee called the police. She looks at me and she's screaming at me, "Drive away, Susie, drive away." And I pulled across the street and I stopped and I rolled down my car window. I'm on her neighbor's property. I'm not on her property. I said, "I'm not going anywhere." I waited and the police came and I told them, "Search me. There's no gun."
So I put her father and the police and the disappearance of Cameron away and focused on Cameron and what was going on there. Cameron said that they were going to admit him and that they thought it was gallstones. So we got him in a room and we're sitting there with him, and he's okay. He's not in a severe pain. They're doing tests. They're trying to figure it out. So the family is taking turns sitting with him. About 3 o'clock Wednesday morning, I got a call. Cameron is in the shower, throwing up black bile, which is exactly what he did Monday. This is now Wednesday morning, surrounded by 5 or 6 nurses. Wednesday afternoon, his mother's there, the whole family's there. I come back in, they're prepping him for surgery. This is 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. They came out about 45 minutes later and said he was going to die. There had been no oxygen to his internal organs since Monday night when I brought him in and he put his finger on where it hurt and that he had a history of blood clots. I basically held his hand for the next 12 hours while he slowly died. of a blood clot right where he put his finger 4 days earlier.
So how did you find out that he passed?
It was a Facebook post that he was tagged in and written by this girl, and it was really more focused on her than it was him. She's like, oh, he didn't die of an overdose and all these things, and it was like, well, wait a minute, who are you? Who in the hell do you think you are that you would steal this from his family? She had no right to post that, and the things that she said in the post, like, oh, he didn't die of an overdose. Well, excuse me, who are you? Are you a doctor? I don't think so, and you were the one out doing drugs with him, so you're the one that kept him from his family in those last few hours. So I don't know what you're talking about, but no.
He wanted a merchandising place for it. He wanted what we had at the other shop, a very open kitchen, so that when the customer comes in, they can actually see, and the pitmaster cutting their meat. Cameron loved talking and communicating with the customers, and he could pull it straight out of the pit, put it right there on the table, cut it for the customer and give it to him. We like to say at Smokin' D's that, you know, you can get ribs or meat as good as this, barbecue as good as this, but you can't get better. Well, that's the way it was with me and Cameron. My father and son could get as close as this, but you couldn't get closer than me and Cameron. I was ready to retire. He knew how to run all of it. He knew what to do. He had been running this shop. It was time for him to take over the other shop. And frankly, if he wanted, he could open many, many more. The business model that we had created and designed and learned from our failures, and it was all his. I didn't need anything. I didn't want anything. His sister was getting her PhD. He was going to be Smokin' C, you know.
And then what happened?
Well, that's hard to say because there's people that won't tell us that.
I do think that there was some discrepancy in care, because when he presented at the hospital on Monday with, the pain, and he had had a history of blood clots in the past that should have been pretty well documented. From what I understand, not being a medical professional, of course, but from what I understand, there is a procedure that's supposed to be followed when it comes to a patient that presents with these type of symptoms and has a history of blood clots, and that wasn't followed. Things like compression socks, right? Monitoring blood clots, all of that kind of stuff. And so none of that was done, and that does give me pause. That does make me question, whether the people in the room were qualified to make the decisions they were making, or if they were perfectly qualified, as we've been talking about, did they disregard him because he has a history of drug addiction? Did they write him off because they thought that he was trying to get painkillers, right, and pain pills? And, I don't blame people for having those thoughts, but that in no way should have impacted how they treated him and the quality of medical care that he received. So I think that's the difference, right? You can have these thoughts, you can have these snap judgments, and that's human, but what you do about it, I think, speaks to your character, and I think it speaks to your level of professionalism. I think that there is a high likelihood that there was some medical negligence involved, if not malpractice, right? And again, it's one of those things where if there wasn't, great, but we need to go to court and they need to prove that, and that's their responsibility.
So I can kind of see where they were dismissive, but he was telling them they could have done tests a lot sooner to found it.
It's a combination of all of it. I think he could have definitely gotten better care at Flagler Hospital. Had he not gotten involved with that girl, he wouldn't have had a relapse. Not that it makes the pain any less, but knowing the truth, I think, would help put things to rest.
It's a law that should be made public. The public doesn't know about this. Oh, are you sure you want to get divorced? Because if you get divorced, there's 2 more people in the Florida free kill mix. It's sad. There's a certain class of citizens in Florida that don't have equal rights.
Why is my 33-year-old son dead? The fact that I can't get that question answered because of this law makes living harder than dying. This is not about money. I have all I need. This is about responsibility, accountability, and the truth. On Monday, November 18th, I rushed Cameron to the Flagler Hospital emergency room. He was in severe pain, coughing up blood. He informed them of a history of blood clots, put his finger on his abdomen where the pain was emanating from. After his pain ended, we were sent home with no answers. At 6 a.m. the following morning, with the same issues, we were back there. Over the next 3 days, Cameron's condition continued to worsen, and we kept telling each new doctor and each nurse about his history of blood clots. Finally, after 3 days, doctors informed us they would be performing surgery. They had discovered a blood clot, the very same place he had pointed to days earlier. By that time, it was too late. The clot had cut off oxygen to his internal organs. I spent the next 12 hours watching him die. That was nearly 4 days after he told them where it hurt and what it was. When his mother asked the surgeon why they waited so long, the surgeon said, "I don't know. They called me at 2 o'clock today." What I want is answers. The Florida free kill law prevents me and my family from getting those answers and getting the closure we need to mourn Cameron's passing. I reported Cameron's case to the Florida Department of Health over 3 months ago. I tried to get 3 different law firms to take his case, but none could or would because of this law. Desperate, I filed my own small claims court against the hospital, trying to get access to his internal documents. The judge threw it out because of this law. Florida free kill law is attracting incompetent medical professionals seeking to evade malpractice suits. It has prevented better oversight of medical procedures. Most importantly, it has prevented grieving families from getting answers and justice that they deserve. The language in the law says Cameron had no dependents. I have depended on him virtually every single day for the last 18 years as we built Smokin' D's Barbecue. And just as your parents are depending on you as you age, and you are depending on your children as you age, I was depending on Cameron as I age. Pass a straight bill. The people of Florida are depending on you. And I need to know why my son is dead. The idea that 93% of our state legislators voted to end the free kill law and the governor vetoed it demonstrates that the Florida government is run by the medical establishment and medical insurance industry in the state of Florida. According to the hospital and Florida's law, I didn't depend on Cameron, and neither did his sister, and neither did all the customers. This law has to end.
Thank you for watching The Fight Against Free Kill Laws with Ed Salazar, where we interview those who have dealt firsthand with medical malpractice. Families are devastated by medical malpractice and left with no justice. This isn't just a loophole. It's a failure to protect the ones we love. It's time to change the law. It's time for accountability. Contact your state legislatures, visit afreekill.com for more information on how to help, or contact Ed at 561-239-2417. Because every life should matter.
You're listening to A Fight Against Free Kill Laws from AMP Media Production Studio.